Hey everybody, one that was bored, never boring. Today I'm continuing my HeroQuest restoration project by painting the Chaos Sorcerer, aka Sir Ragnar, aka the Witch Lord, aka Skeletor. This is a really lovely miniature and paints up really easily. I have started by spraying him with Corax White, and that's going to give me a nice bright base coat to work from. And I'm going to give him a little bit of a Skeletor vibe, but I am not just painting him to look like Skeletor. And I am starting with Balthazar Gold, and I'm going to apply this to the cuffs of the gauntlet, the armbands, the ball on the top of the helmet, and the belt. I wouldn't normally start with the metallics, but the way this miniature is sculpted, it's just going to work out a little bit more easily if I do these metallic areas first. Of course, I will then need to clean my brush thoroughly and change my water so that I do not get any metallic flakes in any of the paints that I use subsequently. I'm then moving on to Screaming Skull, and obviously I am going to apply this to the face, but I will also apply it to the little amulet that he is wearing. And at this stage I don't need to worry about being too tidy or neat. I just need to make sure that we have a good solid coat of the Screaming Skull over those areas. Next up, I am switching to Agrax Earthshade, and I'm going to put a wash of this over all of the Balthazar Gold areas. This is going to give it a nice brassy coppery look and make it look a little bit more dingy, and of course bring out the detail. And then I'm going to switch to Seraphim Sepia, and this is going to go on the face and the amulet to give us a nice bone colour. And you can see that as I apply that to the amulet, all the little details pop immediately. Next is Eshin Grey, and this is a dark grey colour that I'm going to apply to the boots and the gauntlets and the helmet. I'm thinning the paint slightly, and I'm applying 2 coats because I want a nice smooth finish on these areas. Any nice dark grey will work well. Or even a black if you want to go the black route. With that done, I'm switching to Dawnstone. Any lighter grey will do, and this is going to go onto the legs and the arms. Again, I'm thinning the paint, and I will be applying 2 coats to get a nice smooth finish. You don't need to be too careful when you're doing this, but you do need a slightly steady hand for painting between the metal areas. You don't want to get any of this grey on those metallic bands. But I find it is much easier to apply a small amount of paint between 2 raised painted areas than it is to paint the raised areas like that and get neat finishes on the edges. Next we are switching to Nuln Oil, and we are going to put a wash of this over all of the grey we have painted. That's both the Eshin Grey and the Dawnstone, and we are also going to put some Nuln Oil into the eye sockets. Then I am switching to Alien Purple, which is an Army Painter paint, and I'm going to apply this over the tunic. This is a really nice purple colour, but it does not apply well, and it's going to take at least 3 coats to get a really good solid colour. While the tunic's drying, I'm switching to Xandri Dust, and I'm going to put a coat of this over the horns. I'm going to be painting the horns in the style that I've used previously on Chaos Warriors. It's a really simple technique where you apply several different types of wash over Xandri Dust to build up a gradation of colour, and I think it looks really nice when it's done. Next, I'm using a purple tone over the tunic. I'm using a purple tone rather than a Nuln Oil or an Agrax Earthshade because I don't want to muddy up the colour. I want a nice vibrant purple, and using this purple tone I will still get the recess shading, I will still get the definition and the highlights, but I will also intensify the purple colour that I've already used. We want our Witch Lord to look spectacular. So of course I'm being careful as I apply the wash. I do not want to get this over any of the grey areas. At this point you pretty much have a finished miniature if that's as far as you would like to take it, but I'm going back to Dawnstone and I'm going to thin that Dawnstone down a lot, and I'm going to start applying layers of it over the raised parts of the light grey areas on the arms and the legs. This is going to help build up the definition of the muscles and add interest to the miniature. I haven't gone as far as thinning it to a glaze consistency, but I have thinned it quite a lot, and it will take 2 or 3 passes to get to a stage that I am happy at. But you can stop whenever you like when you're doing something like this, once you get to a point that you think, I'm happy with that. It all comes down to how long you want to spend on it. Next I'm switching to my Eshin Grey, and I'm doing exactly the same thing with the dark grey areas. So I have thinned that Eshin Grey down a lot, and I am going to apply it to the raised areas on the gauntlets and the boots. And it will need at least 2 passes, if not 3. I'm then going back to Seraphim Sepia, and I'm going to apply this over the Xandri dust on the horns. This is going to give the horns a more realistic horn colour and work as a base for subsequent washes. Just be careful not to slosh your washes over the painted areas. I'm now going back to my alien purple, and as with the grey areas, I've thinned this down a little bit and I'm applying it to the raised areas, 2 or 3 passes, just to bring the colour back up, just to emphasise the highlighted areas and to better contrast with the shaded areas. And then we're doing the same thing with Balthazar Gold. I'm just applying this to the raised areas on the metal bands, just to make those raised details pop a little bit more, and to brighten up the metal just a little bit. I'm then switching to Reichland Flesh Shade, and I'm applying this to the horns, but I'm only going halfway up from the bottom. And what will happen with this is, as it dries, we will get a gradation of colour. We will go from a darker colour through to the lighter colour at the top. And to finish that look, I'm going to use some Agrax Earthshade, and I'm just going to apply that to a small area around the base of each horn. And that will complete the gradation. You can obviously do many more steps than that if you want to. But for me, this is a finished piece. That's as far as I am taking this, apart from, of course, painting the base. I'm not going to paint the base in this particular video because I have a separate video in my HeroQuest playlist where I go through exactly how I paint the flagstone style bases for my miniatures. So this Chaos Sorcerer will be getting some flagstones applied, and then I will be giving him a coat of varnish to protect the paint, and that is it. He will be ready to enter the dungeon to fend off those pesky heroes. And that is it from me for now. Thank you so much for watching. If you've enjoyed this video, please consider pressing the like button. If you really enjoyed this video, please consider subscribing if you don't already do so. And hopefully, I'll see you all again very soon. Bye bye everyone. Bye bye.